for this service, this is everything that you'll need, and I'll go in detail for it. These are the fluids and stuff that I use. I use the headlamp, jack stands. I had my 2 jacks, a couple magnet trays to put the sockets. I like to put them on top of the jack. That one's missing, it's here somewhere. But also we have brake gauges. I pulled out both of the ones that I have. I also pulled out my tire gauges, the regular snap-on one. I pulled out the other regular one, my small little pry bar, which is super useful. Toothbrush or any kind of brush, as long as it's not hard bristles, because definitely you don't want that. But you need a torque wrench, 14 millimeter. I like to use my ratchet wrench 14 millimeter, 1/2 inch drive. And for the 1/2 inch drive, got a 21 millimeter socket that goes into an extension, which is key locked. For my wheels, the filter cup that you're gonna need specifically for this car, an impact gun. You don't need to get an impact gun, but it's helpful and it's a lot faster. Also, a bigger 4 quarts to measure 4 quarts, and a small cup to measure ounces. You'll need any type of .3. This .3 is for your brake fluids. Brake fluid, you automatically look at it. If it's contaminated, dirty, you'll go for a flush. If not, you just top it off. The original equipment technology, Asian vehicles antifreeze coolant. And this is a 50/50. Notice that it has a pink cap. This is not OEM, but you could definitely get this on AutoZone, O'Reilly's, or any of your parts store. The OEM straight Toyota is also pink. You can see by the pink cap on the top here. It is a 50/50 coolant, long life antifreeze coolant. And you see that you are missing some coolant in your reservoir. You can go for the aftermarket or the OEM Toyota one. 0W20, and it's a high mileage full synthetic. Definitely, it says it lasts 10,000 miles, but since it's a 0W20, I usually change it at 5,000 miles. And my car is starting to feel sluggish after 5,000 miles, so for any 0W20, I don't let it go past the 5,000 miles, even for this full synthetic. You need a headlights or a lamp or something like that, especially when it gets dark underneath the vehicle. These, I highly recommend you get a set of these. These things are awesome. Any brake gauges, these are metal brake gauges. You can shove this in there and they won't break. They're a lot more expensive than the plastic gauges, but the plastic gauges tend to break. This is my, I believe this is a 3 millimeter. Yep, this is my 3 millimeter, and my 3 millimeter is broken, but it is a lot cheaper than this one. You're looking at 30 bucks, 15 bucks. You're looking at another 30 bucks, but it's a lot more precise than this one. But this is a lot more convenient, and it fits in the pocket, especially if you have a type of coveralls or anything like that. You just put that in there along with your little pry bar, which is pocket size and has a clip there. It wasn't in your pocket. Toothbrushes, most people throw them away. I give them a second life because they work amazing on cars. Torque wrench, you definitely need it for torquing your wheels. The only thing we're torquing today is our wheels lug nuts. Lug nuts are 76 foot-pounds. You have a ratchet wrench there. Don't over torque your actual drain plug. It's very easy to do it because this one has a lot of leverage. Also, because it has a lot of leverage, it's a lot easier for it to come out. So make sure you tighten that up properly. We have a 1/2 inch drive, which fits our filter cap. So it's really easy to take off. And a 20 millimeter for our key for the actual wheel lug nuts. You can also double up on this and put it with the actual 1/2 inch drive DeWalt. Last thing you want, measure in quarts. You measure in ounces for the last portion of the quarts. when you are putting the oil in there, you look for 4 quarts. I like to be exact when it comes down to the oil, and I like to fill it down to the ounces. So for 4.4 quarts, you're looking at 12 ounces, 2 3-ton jacks. This is their higher standard one. When it comes down to the jacks, I like this rubber piece here. This is a Daytona series. It's a Super Duty high performance jack, and it's a Harbor Freight jack. But I have different other jacks that I use. These just happen to be easier to wheel, and because I do have the larger bars here, I have more leverage and I can easily take it off. I have another smaller jack, but for this video, I use these 3 tons. That smaller jack right there is super high speed. Whenever I do have a house call or something that I want to do, I usually wind up taking that jack or this jack. They work the same, but it's a little bit more hand cranking when it comes to it. These, I straight just pump it and it just goes. It's a little bit more convenient. Jack stands, these 2 tons here are perfect. When you turn on the car, you definitely get this maintenance required. If you don't know what it is, you probably take it into the dealership. And if you look at your mileage, my oil change is due at 92,830. So I'm about 46 miles overdue. And so look at my sticker. I know for 100% sure that at 5,000 miles it was going to give me that warning. So 92,830. If I was on time, I would have done it before it would have came on there at 90,830. I let it go all the way to 5,000 miles. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off just because I definitely want to go check how the oil looks prior to me changing it. And that is pretty burnt up oil. Also, as you know, as it gets dirtier and clogged up, it's about, as I'm gonna say, 1/5 of it low. And that is empty. Another thing that I'll check today is going to be the coolant. It's a tad bit low on the reservoir right there. I'm going to fill that up. It's a little bit dirty. My fill line is right here, so it's right there, so that's good. This is a jack stand. You got to put it on the side of the vehicle just in case your jack fails. There's one on this side, it's going to be one on the other side. So this one came out with without the crush washer. Good thing I have a ton of them. You can definitely pre-order these. I put a link below. But Yeah, it's the luck washer is on the pan itself. So sometimes it does that. They stick to the pan or the bulk itself, the actual drain plug. You just got to make sure that you don't, we call it double gasket, which is you double up on your crush washer because it won't be effective. 2 is not better than the recommended 1. So most definitely I'll go ahead and show you guys that in a second. So you can see on the pan right there, that is another crush washer on there. And it's common for them to stick on there like that, but all you have to do is, I like using this little mini pry bar for everything. You just gotta push on it, basically, to pry it off. Some of them get stuck a bit more. So that one just kind of shot out, but that's it. You don't want another crush washer to be stuck on there. And if it is, you'll double gasket. There's a crush washer already on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this all together. It's hand tight. This is a ratchet wrench. It's directional as well. So on the head right there, just click that. It's one of the reasons I like this. And once I'm hitting where it's kind of tight right there, just give it a little tiny spin. And that's it. Get into the filter itself. It is a canister filter, and this one is an A6. We'll take that off and we'll work on it on the bench. Pull on it. Dump out as much oil as you can. While that is draining, I do like to use the OEM part for this one, and this is the 4152-YZZ A6. Everybody knows this is an A6. Comes in with this O-ring here. We'll replace that, and we'll replace this guy as well. Or the cartridge, I like leaving them underneath with the drain pan. It's draining right now. Go ahead and slap that on there. And do pinch this just like that. Put in the mini pry bar, and then just work it all the way around. Once I work it around, throw this guy away. Make sure I put that in the box. I know for a fact 100% garbage one. Go ahead and open this. Pull this out. Throw this away. Reinstalling that, it's going to be the same way. All I do is gotta work it in. This one looks a little crusty though. All I want to do is work this in just like that on the corner and roll it. Roll it all the way through. Massage it, push it all the way through, and keep rolling it until it falls in place. When it falls in place, just put my thumb on one section and roll it all the way around. And that is it. This guy is good to go. Some people put an additional coat of Vaseline all the way around this, and that is perfectly normal and natural, but this comes with a little bit of Vaseline already inside of it, so I don't like to overdo it. But also, I never had a leak on this vehicle just by putting it in just like this. So to each their own, whatever you want to do, this is good to go. As far as my quarts of oil, on the prior one, this was gonna be probably 1, 2, 3, and I'm not sure if this is at 4 quarts. And since I buy it by 5 quarts, this is the leftover quarts. I just keep adding oil to this. It's also CRW 20. I've just been adding to this one because it's just an empty container. This one's 5W30, but I've been pouring about a sixth, not a fifth or half a quart of leftover, because I get 4.4 in that car, and all my leftovers go here, and then this just happens to be an extra one. So you need if you have a measuring container like this measures 4 quarts. I'll go ahead and fill this up for 4 quarts, and this will give me the 4 quarts. For the last one, I'll get the 4.4 out of this, which I'll go to the quarts. I know the 16 ounces is half a quart, so I'll do it to 12 ounces. And if needed, I'll add 2 ounces to it to get it right in between that. So that would be my 4.4 quarts. And that's how I do it. And that's how I keep the containers, leftover oil, and then I use it the following month. But it can get confusing if you don't have measuring cups to tell you exactly. So at the end of it, I'll put 4.4 quarts, just what the doctor wanted. And it's fairly close. It's pretty close to 4 quarts. Last, we got this one. Red is bad, yellow is in between, and green is optimal. You want yours to be green, and it's on millimeters. So if it's green at 8 millimeters, it's gonna mark it right there. And all you do is you shove it into the side of it. It's a very quick readout, but you definitely need to have your wheel out to get both of them. So the brake pad is sitting in between right there. Let's get a closer look at it. This is an 8 millimeter. It's not fitting in there, so obviously we'll go down to a 6 millimeter. And your 6 millimeter is looking in the ambers. So let's take it in there. And say it's about a 6 millimeter. Go down. Looks the wear pattern is a little bit uneven. It's down here, the 6 millimeter is a little bit tougher to get in there, but we'll call it a 6 millimeter. Brake pad is right there. It's still in the 2 millimeters. It's really low. So on the outside, we have 6 millimeters, and on the inside here, we have about 2 millimeters. It's pretty hard to see the one on the inside. So this one's due for brake pads. Kinda see them in here. Basically, when your boot is torn like that, all it is, dirt's gonna be coming in here. And since there's no way to like refill these and reservice these, because these are not like some professional, like you take them off, you repack them with grease or fluid and stuff like that. They're pressed on there together. When this goes out, dirt comes in there and it jams in there. Makes your ride a little bit more bumpier than what normally you would have. You wouldn't be able to see that. Your brakes, unless you have a little brake gauge. These are about like 20 bucks in the tool truck, but these are good to let you know the size of them. Obviously, you need to know how to use these, but if you have a set of these and you know how to use them, you check your brake pads. This one definitely needs new brake pads, and when I do the brake pads, I'm going to do the rotors, because these rotors have about 90,000 miles to them. So yeah, it's a future service. It's another thing that I like to do when I do the oil change. Every 5,000 miles, at least just put eyes on them and check them. You don't have to take the caliper apart and relube the guide pins, but that would be optimal if you can relube the guide pins, put it all back together. But you know that you have bad brake pads. You got to change the brake pads and your rotors. When you do that, you can relube the guide pins and put it all back together. But for right now, we're gonna rotate the tire. The front one's in the back, because all the main wear pattern on the side of the actual tire wears out a lot more if you just ride those tires in the front the whole time. So you want to put these from the front to the back, and from the back I'll have that one in the front. That's it. When you put these, make sure you put them in a start pattern. Start from here, go there, pop, pop, pop. You start here, just go pop, 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 pop. Wherever you start, just go on the start pattern. So yeah, and then we're gonna lower it down just a bit so these can grip on the floor, and you're gonna torque them with your torque wrench, 76 foot-pounds. And then that's it. If you want to check it, just go, as soon as you're done with that start pattern, just come over, and they're all set. Now everything's torqued, and we'll lower down the jack the rest of the way. Tire itself right here, it does have a wear pattern indicator. This wear pattern indicator means that when it falls on that little ledge right there, then your tire, you might want to get new ones. You have a tire gauge here. This one's from Snap-on. All you do is you put it in there, and it tells you this one's the most precise gauge that I've ever found. So as soon as I seen it, thought it was really cool, and I went ahead and bought myself one. You can see it's at 7 right there. That's good. It's still in the greens. When it goes into the yellows, actually the yellow right there for the 3. Most people add 3s. They're already looking for new tire options, or they change them. I don't let it get to 3, because since it's my daily, I like it to be reliable. So it's at 7. 7's still a good, and it's a go. The deeper you go in, should be pretty higher, depending on the wear. And you can measure a couple different spots. As long as it's on the green, you get a good set of tires. And you also have an indicator on the tire itself right there. So these tires are really good. And also, since they were riding in the back, notice that the wear pattern here is not as aggressive as it is on the one in the back. It's pretty aggressive right there. I can see more nicks, damage, and the scaly pattern right there is from the tires going back and forth. Again, you can use this gauge here to tell you, just in case you think they're running pretty low, and it'll tell you. But comparisons to the ones in the fronts were reading at 7, these are reading at 6. Yeah, or a high 6, but pretty low there. In the middles, yeah, definitely high 6s. The other ones were reading 7s and 8s. These are also other ones. I had one of these on my shirt when I was a technician, and same thing. It'll give you a readout in either millimeters. It's running in the 6 millimeters here. So they are both fairly accurate. I believe this one is a lot more accurate, but these are cheaper, and you can put these on your pocket. The last check you want to do on your tires is right here. It tells you the tire specifications, it tells you the type of tire best recommended for this vehicle, and to set it at 35 psi. And we're looking at the fronts, 35 psi, and then the rears, 35 psi. And the spare tire, you're looking at 60 psi. It is a 4mm. That is a 6, and it doesn't fit. And the 4mm fits kind of big in between, so it's about a 5, but it's, you know, it's under 6mm. This one is, again, very, very similar to the other one. It's extremely low on the inside. There's a 2mm gauge right there. And it fits almost perfectly. So I'm going to call it about a 2 or 3mm. Definitely have 4mm on the inside and 2 or 3mm on the inside. 4mm on the outside and 2 or 3 on the inside, which is it's time for new brake pads basically.